So healing the wound, they want to talk about healing our wounds. Now, I've referred to this in quite a few of the videos, but I haven't, again, done a real focus point on it, which is what they want to now do. How we talk about healing our wounds. You know, a lot of people are very you know, internal and soulful, and no, soulful's not the right word. A lot of people look to their inner self a lot, and they do this kind of work naturally. Not everybody does. Not everybody does. It's not a natural thing to everybody, but it could be. It could be. And if we knew the fact that it changed our reality and the law of attraction delivered us so much more wonderful things once we shift our inner problems, surely we're all going to want to do it. You know, it's the only way for us to change, really. To change the outside is the only way to do it. So we're going to want to do it. So how do we do it? How do we change the wounds? How do we? Well, we really have to start with the trigger that's happening on the outside. Start with the outside situation. Look at that. If you have repeat patterns, those are things to look at. Things that you don't like, that you hate, that you're embarrassed about, you hate, whatever, that always, you know, when you hear people or you hear yourself say, that always happens to me, that situation. Again and again. Why does that always happen to me? Now, there's the wonderful clues there. That's the clues for us, really. Why do I always have these things happening to me? Why do I always end up in those situations, coincidentally? We end up in these situations where these same feelings play out, you know, again. So those are the clues. So we want to start homing in on those and pick one. There may be more than one, many, if you're unlucky. You know, we've got to start somewhere, you know. Pick one of those and start delving into. Look at the situations when it's all happened. Look at them and look at the commonality of each of these situations. In a sense, what was the common thing that you felt? Did they all bring you to one common feeling? Fear, shame, you call them negative feelings, but it's a way to describe, you know, the feelings that we don't find so pleasant. So we're really looking at the commonality. What is the thread that ties all of these situations together? It's usually helpful to try to go back to find when it first started. The first of the triggers, possibly in childhood. You know. But it will run and run and run and run and run. It's like an old film that goes on and on and on. You watch it. Oh God, not, you know, when you see another old film that's always on the television, you know, at Christmas time, you think, oh God, I'm not going to watch that again. It's like an old film that always runs and runs and runs and runs, and it's very energy consuming for the brain, you know, because the brain's got to keep running that reality. We are hanging on to that reality. We're hanging on to, let's call it shame. We're hanging on to the reality. We're ashamed of what we did. I'll use that as an example. That's quite close to home. We're ashamed of what we did, or how we responded given a certain circumstance. Now, let's assume there was a predatory person involved. It's important to see the predator and what they've done, yes, of course, and their responsibility, of course. However, if we lock ourselves up into that person, what they did to us, we are neglecting to find the problem and the issue in ourselves. What we're really wanting to do is to stop pointing the finger. I'm not saying the finger isn't well deserved. The finger may be very well deserved, of course. But what we're really looking to do is go deeper. That's a few stages out. We're wanting to go really deep into ourselves. And a meditation might help with this, to just focus on that feeling, feel it, cry with it, get upset with it, really feel it. And then it's like the one thing we've never actually done, even though we're meant to be friends to ourselves, we've never really listened. We've really never listened. Why did I do that? Am I evil? It's unlikely. Why did I do it then? Why? And then that child, if it was, a feeling thing, and perhaps associated with our childhood, that child will speak. We haven't listened before. Why did you do that? What was the only thing I could do under the circumstances? That was all I could really do. There were not many options. Or similar. So what we're really wanting to do is to listen to the child. So pointing the finger, has its place. Yes, I'm not saying it doesn't, but when we're trying to sort out the wound, we need to do it in a state of mind where we're fully taking responsibility for our feelings on the subject. So we're taking responsibility. We're seeing it that law of attraction now is going to give us what we're always seeing. It'll give us that same wound day in, day out. It'll give us the same wound. So we're going to almost take ownership of our own wound. And we're going to listen. Just listen to it. The body replicates the spirit. The body shows us cuts and healing and blood, etc., etc. It kind of replicates the energy body. Our energy body has cuts and breaks and holes too, and bleeds, but it bleeds energy. And so we don't want to feed those darker spirits who will always be on the hunt for looking for energy coming out of our own energy bodies, our vase, other video. We don't want to be feeding, giving free feasts and free food to other predatory darker spirit types. We don't want to be doing that. We want our own energy. We want to contain our own energy. In healing our wound, we are beginning to do that. Instead of pouring out shame, which is not actually truth. Fundamentally, our energy body is truth. It's one step, it's gone past truth and found a delusion to keep it happy. Perhaps it's found anger. It's a step out from the feeling. We want to go back, stepping into the feeling, our own. Imagine the outside world does not exist. What is our feeling and how we acted? How do we feel about that? Face ourselves fully in that mirror, if you like, in that self mirror. Shame, whatever, disgust, whatever it is, and look at it and listen, and it will heal. When we listen to it, it will heal. And when it heals, that hole in our vase, that big gap or big hole that's leaking all the water out, will heal up properly, and we won't keep, our reality will shift like that, and we won't keep walking into those same situations, because law of attraction has to show us what is inside us at any given point, the totality of what is inside of us, stored in our body too. So some of us have memories and stuff that was so deeply buried we didn't even know existed. and didn't come out till we were 50 odd, you know, when we're, in a sense, when we're ready to deal with things. Yeah, so that was a separate reality, and this one was, yes, lost my train of thought a bit there, was the really important in finding this wound is to stop pointing the finger. It doesn't work. You can't clean up the wound if you are blaming. Yes, I'm not saying it's not justified if you were a victim of a predator in some form or another. That's already a given. But this is not coming from a moral standpoint. When we're looking at it from an energy standpoint, we have to 100% take responsibility of our feelings that are going out and attracting more of these predatory types. Because just as we do it in the material world, we do it in the spiritual world. Just as if we haven't resolved this shame, there will be tons of predatory types wanting to come in if they see that in us. And they'll have that sixth sense, you know, of someone who feels really shameful about that, and they'll come in and want to feed off it. It's energy. And the material world do it as much as the spiritual world. There's nothing gets thrown away. And so, yeah, that's another video. Okay. So not pointing the finger is the main thing that they really wanted to talk about on that, in order to truly, fully, properly heal. And then your reality will shift. And law of attraction will match it and give you better. It'll be wonderful. Till the next one.